Hello, this is J.N.S, and I want to briefly do a part 2 on my previous video about the Saturn energy of the crone mother that is really influencing the globe right now, and influencing more people than others as far as certain groups and certain bloodlines. But I wanted to do some follow-up of some points that I had forgot to make, or just some things that have came more to the surface since actually doing that video. But I am really disturbed by some of the things that I was seeing on the social media. And so this so much is not so about Kevin Samuels. It's more so the aftermath of how people respond and the things that come out their mouth, and the things that to me present themselves in patterns as far as seeing a certain rhetoric or a certain narrative being pushed. And a part of that narrative, particularly on Twitter, is that these black men, they're online saying, you don't care about the death of black men, and you guys have shown us your true colors about how you really feel about the death of black men. So I have seen so many tweets about that. I wish I could probably go back and get some screenshots or whatever. But I was just looking this is such gaslighting of the highest order, because it's really a slap in the face too, because to say that, okay, these black women don't care about the death of black men. I mean, who is out there leading most of these protests? Granted, protest is just a technique. It's not a strategy to get us out of this predicament that we find ourselves in. But to say that emphatically, you black women showed us you don't care about black men at all. I mean, the stuff I was seeing, and I even had, I was even y'all are doing the most here. How could you take this one person and extrapolate that to the entire race of black men off of one person who was extremely controversial and offended a lot of people? How do you now insert yourself as this? I don't know what kind of Jedi mind tricks. It's people really be running game on niggas, and it's what was all that about this fever about George Floyd or Philando Castile or Mike, I think his name was his name was Michael, I forgot his name, but Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, all of these people that we've seen, black women act a plumb fool about, when these black men died, going to the forefront, leading marches. I could show these black women was getting shot up in their eye. I got footage of this stuff. I got a lot of information, and I'm some of these women was pregnant out there and got their eyesight out of their left eye. I forgot one of the young ladies' names, but she was all in the hospital bed and stuff. I got my eyes shot out by one of them rubber pellets because she was out there getting tear gassed and all this stuff. And when you see stuff like that, it's extremely selfish, because it's every 6 hours we know that a black woman is getting killed, and it's these things are not being put in its proper context in terms of what is actually reality. I mean, and the shit on the 200 years of black women who were single-handed, even a person like Ida B. Wells, or even if you see even that situation with Corinne Gaines, if you actually assess the rhetoric, the things that she was saying up until her getting killed, what she was really actually concerned about, she wasn't really fighting for herself it was just this black male collective. And it's y'all have a lot of nerve to get up on the internet and say some shit like that when all of these black women are out here most of the time putting your concerns above their own, and I have the evidence about this stuff, as well as all of these women that were really doing, with the exception of say an organization like Black Lives Matter, there are a lot of black women who've started cooperatives in lieu of black men getting killed, to help black boys, to help young boys, get into certain programs so that they can be more self-actualized in terms of their own self-agency within the system. But it's like, where do you get off because somebody didn't agree with someone's rhetoric, and he happened to be a black man, he happened to die, and because some people didn't agree with it, it didn't really feel indifferent towards the death in terms of the aftermath? Where do you get off making a leap in logic to get your ass on the internet and then say, all of y'all never cared about the deaths of black men, and are you kidding me? Do you really want to see what that would even look like? Like, this is the stuff that, like, and this is where it just causes so much friction, and so, because that's very inflammatory. So then you have women that actually really do care, and then you're telling those same women that actually that they're in that lump with maybe some that don't give a shit, or maybe some that didn't care necessarily about Kevin Samuels. So this one black man is somehow representative of 1 billion of y'all now. Like, that's weird. You know, that's not intelligent. That, you know, that kind of stuff is like, and I know it's game, and I know it's this sort of programming from the power disarray system. There's certain things that you triggers that you guys can say to kind of get black women to get in line, in terms of how you assert your mind power. And by that I'm talking about there's a lot of brainwashing, believe it or not. So I get that, you know, that there's that saying stuff like that, it has it breeds a certain sort of behavior in black women, you know, but it kind of is a gaslighting technique. It's like, now you have all these black women saying, oh, I care, oh, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. It was never true. They didn't have no business. It's not even so much you have to explain that it's not true. It's like, you had no business saying that. Like, why did you go out and say something like that when all these other deaths of the black men had mattered? Many of them, thousands of them. But because this one time where your woman is like, okay, this person was too much for the community, or they were toxic, I wasn't really feeling them, okay, whatever, I'm indifferent. Now you feel in your soul that you gotta go out and say, see, you didn't care about no black men, you women have always. And I'm like, see, that kind of stuff is just it is really not productive to do that. You have to keep things in balance and in perspective, and everything that you do in life rooted in truth and logic, if possible, even intuition, if you get downloads from the spiritual realm. But just come out like that, and it's something off with that energy. And what I don't like about many of the rhetoric is that you're so willing to take your women to task. You know, you have to call out the black woman. You know, she got to be called out. She got to change her ways. She's causing the whole downfall of the community, is what you said. You know, like you just the perfect cherubim. You know, like you just running around here full of roses, like your shit don't stink. And what is, you know, what should be obvious to you is that some of us, we can see your flaws. You know, some of us, we can, you telling us that we have to fix all of these things. Fix your hair, fix your skin color, fix your attitude. Don't do this or you can never be redeemed. You know, don't have out of wedlock. All these things that you expect someone else to do, as if you successfully built the patriarchal infrastructure that would actually solve many of these grievances that you're complaining about. And that's a fact. So do not think that this goes unnoticed among many of us, that you are living under another man's patriarchy. We are aware of that. We don't throw it in your face. A lot of us have been very compassionate and try to help you get out of the situation, bring forth solutions. I had was talking some months ago, I think maybe even a year ago, it's been so long ago, about other solutions to as far as sovereignty, and that's a whole nother topic, because it's that is coming under some they're trying to say that there's extremist views to talk about like living off grid and stuff now, so we have to be, it's a lot of stuff with that, but so I'm not gonna go there, but we are aware that you have to go to another man's institutions for pretty much a lot of sustenance in terms of finance, housing, institutions of education, jobs, healthcare, and so does your woman. Your woman is dependent on that structure too. So we're all in this system dependent on their fucking structure. And there's no amount of gaslighting, there's no amount of blaming and victim blaming, victim, whatever it is. There's no amount of that you can do for some of us. You might got some of these women brainwashed out of their damn mind. Some of us women, we can see, and we're kind of like, this is an uncomfortable position to be in, because, even if you have a lot of compassion, you can see a lot of the misdirected energy that black people spew at one another. You can see these things, and we understand that undoing the idea of living depending on someone else's infrastructure to that degree, that is the conundrum that you as men should be focused on. Now, again, I know you have a lot of black women brainwashed. They are very dumbed down shells of their former selves. It's like, what in the world, what the hell is going on? So they are not raising the standards that would actually push you towards your own self-autonomy. Even if things got extreme, and there's a way to do that, and again, that cannot be discussed right now. But that enterprise architecture, believe it or not, has to be kind of embedded within the cultural values itself of even how you raise a child, even how you raise a boy, how you raise a girl. But they don't even push for their own damn self-autonomy. So there's some weird stuff going on with black men and black women. But just know that, some of us, we can see that. So when we hearing people like Kevin say, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and we looking like we don't even have our fucking infrastructure to even really depend on or rely on if the women needed to. Like, we gotta go to their hospitals, it's like we gotta go to their banks, we gotta go to their grocery stores, we gotta go we could do everything, but even it's an individual thing at that point. So then it's not even really fruitful, I guess, in the long run, if you have just a couple of individuals that are able to sort of, get off grid or find their own sovereignty, or really just, even if they're in the system, have enough financial security, stability to just be able to focus on themselves and do and have the freedom to do whatever. But collectively, there's things in place that needs to be done. There's work that needs to be done. And when we see all of this projection to, hey, you women need to focus on I'm going to tear you down the best way I can. And if I do this, then you can kind of take the smoke off of not really looking at me. I don't know what that's about. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I wonder, are y'all aware of that? Or do y'all think that we don't know that as women? And do you think a lot of women are very patient? A lot of women ignore it. Some women are very compassionate and trying, and they coddle you to extremes that are actually in your detriment. Which is one of the reasons why you're so pissed off at black women, because that, to be honest, is the biggest crime. If there was ever a crime committed against you as men, it would be the incessant coddling of your manhood. That is dangerous. And if that is, that's where I know you always go up for those what we call like these women that's always doing the pick me stuff, whatever. I know that those are the type of women that feed your ego, but they won't feed you to actually go against the system and build. And really, it's not a pushing factor, because now you're giving someone. What happens is, if women are placating to your ego when you don't really deserve it or you haven't done anything, they're giving you like a toy gun or like a wooden sword to go out into this real world. And one of the great teachers, she told me that she's a woman. She gave us this example, so I'm regurgitating her example. But it's like giving you a wooden sword to go out into the world to compete and to fight against men who have real swords and real guns. So when you have people coddling you and kissing your ass and not keeping it real with you as women and as mothers and as sisters and as brothers, it's really pushing, really doing the deep work. So a lot of that requires shadow work. It requires a lot more strategy than just feelings and emotions. But when you have women that are just being mammies, coddling, just doing all of this, you can never, not pushing you because you have the crutch of what another patriarch has done to you, because you can always use that. Because I was like, well, the white man did this, and the white man he He stopped me from doing this. He stopped me from being this. The women won't let me be men. Blah blah blah. And the women won't let me be men. That's an interesting one because there may be some truth to that. But yeah, and by that I mean the coddling. I mean in that regard, like this stuff gotta stop. Like when that happens, when you go out into the world with a fake sword, fake gun, by that could be fake confidence, inflated ego. And you go out into the world with that, and you think you can compete with other patriarchs that got guns, that got real swords, and they just got all these apparatuses to just legally lock you out, put you down, set up all these type of systems over your head where you can't see shit, and you got someone telling you, oh, it's okay, black man, oh, don't worry, oh, that'd be fine, don't worry about that, oh, it's his system, oh, he's so wicked, he's so evil, you did nothing wrong. And it's like, no, you better get out there and fight. You better get out there. I mean, you better be thinking of the basics: your food, your shelter, and clothing. How can you procure that with you knowing that you have scarce resources, knowing that you have to do those things to survive? So it's like the challenge should be where you address how to procure those basics within the system or outside of the system, however you're going to do it. But you need to focus on how you're going to get food, clothing, and shelter on your ass outside in terms of autonomy individually. Then once you've got down to the basics and you figure out a way to procure your water and your fruit and vegetables, then and your shelter and your clothing, then you could kind of more strategize on other apparatuses that you want to take care of. But if you don't have the basics and you dependent on another man's patriarch for just the basics, then that's an uncomfortable living for everybody, the women, the children, everything. So and I think I mean, this is just real shit. I mean, I'm not saying anything that's inflammatory. It's just like, okay, but my thing is like, I'm not saying this to bash anyone. It's more so like, hopefully this dialogue sparks someone to sit their ass down and think of a plan or think of a way. That's all I'm doing here. I'm trying to put some thoughts in. It's like, hey, maybe some young kid or some young youth or man will come along and say, hey, that really sparked an idea in my head about how to, as far as water, there's ways to, I don't even know if I'm saying too much, but for instance, the transpiration method of collecting water, fresh water. Somebody can come up with an invention to scale that. What if one of you listening right now is the kid, the man, the woman, the child, whatever, who's going to say, transpiration method. Let me go look that up. I got a machine where I can scale this and we can get water and we can own the patents and we can put the intellectual property on blockchain and ledger technology. Like, we can go really deep here but we got to start at the basics. So I mean, this is the shit I love to do. I like to strategize. I like to think of innovative ways to get us some of the things that we're gonna need. So it's like your mind should be there, but the women's mind should be there too. So it's like all of this lamenting and they doing this. I mean, we're gonna have to get off that consciousness because this is your planet. Black women and black men, this is your planet, and it's unfortunate the position that you're in on your own planet. And I do know that this focusing on the blaming and the projecting, the self-hatred, the shame, the guilt, because all of that comes with shame and guilt. Black men, I would like to see you have a workshop on shame and guilt for yourself. The women don't have to be involved, but one of you niggas need to sit and come out with a nice little course to undo shadow work and to undo shame and guilt for just black men. Because black women, there was already a black woman that had a course for us. There's a black woman that already did her thing with helping us black women undo shame and guilt. And this is a fact. And again, it's not every black woman that did it, but it was thousands, it was hundreds that got inspired and wanted to really think about this idea of shame and guilt. I have shame and guilt, so it's like, and by that I mean, like, okay, the factors that get you into such a system, or the ways in which you may have contributed to the demise of this subjugation of this community. Those things, It should be addressed. If it falls on deaf ears and you feel like, oh, I don't need to, oh, you have this knee-jerk reaction or whatever, shit, it, you know, so sweat off my back. Only because I'm a spiritual intuitive, so I can see things 100 years from now. I can see things, how things will play out before they do. But yeah. So that I really wanted to really address this idea, you know, this coddling. I do think it is a horrific way to be, or to be treated, to be infantilized, to be patronized. So I would be personally very upset for any woman that would do that and think that that we can see that. And I've been collecting evidence. It was this one girl. She was on Twitter just last week, just doing all of this coddling and pandering. I mean, it was so uncomfortable and cringy. And at the comment, it was for black men. All these black men, man, they weren't buying it at all. They even went through did all this research on her and found out like some personal stuff about her that didn't align with what she was saying in the tweet. So she's doing, oh, black men, oh my gosh, oh, I love you so, oh my, and they just was looking like it was so uncomfortable. It was like coddling to the 10th degree, like you can do no wrong and blah blah blah. And just the comments, I think I screenshotted them. I took screenshots of it because I'm like, ooh, this is fascinating, because they were like, yeah, just save it. And they were like, it was just something about like, man, why do y'all women do that? Or it was just uncomfortable. It's like, that's not natural. That's brainwashing. Like, and I know that, I guess, like in this sort of, I'm trying to express what that truly is, because I know it's indoctrination. I know it's some sort of programming that came from the bowels of the underbelly of being subjugated in that system that has nothing to do with white people or anybody. Like that kind of behavior is something that is created in the silo of oppression and how you manage power, how you manage power between one another as men and women, you know. But that was very interesting to see. But that's just one thing. But then I also wanted to really discuss, like, well, why is y'all taking your asses out on the internet talking crazy, like like making one little thing just the end all be all? And what I want you to know is that the primordial mothers are watching your every move. Like, we can see everything. There's nothing that you do or that you don't do that goes unnoticed. Nothing. You know, there's some black women, there's some primordial mothers astral projecting right now, watching the ones we want to watching you take a shit right now, watching your every move. Like, this is not a joke. So when we see this projection and hostility to the divine feminine principle, we understand that perhaps there's some misguided energy being directed that needs to be directed towards yourself, in terms of figuring out how you will have full autonomy over your lives as black men in this system. And the women will follow after. And that's a fact. Like, once you get your basics and you focus on procuring your resources, I mean, that's because to be honest, it's more important if you're in a patriarchal system. But if you really hell bent on that, then you gotta develop the infrastructure. If this is what, if patriarchy is something that benevolent, because again, good, bad, right or wrong, all of these systems have pros and cons, including if it was matriarchal. But if you're hell bent on that and you got a bunch of women that is wanting that, then you're gonna have to procure the very basics, the sustenance of survival, your water, food, shelter, your clothing, and you're gonna have to do that independently and not off of another man's system. So then you have to strategize around that, you know. And if it's not, it becomes less important if you are, if you decide to go back to the queen mothership, because you would be expected to spend more time with child rearing than actual organizing ability, because the women would be deciding the organizing ability. That is something you have to figure out what system that you guys want. I know the system I follow the queen mothership. So to me, you know, the queen mothership makes sense because of the type of personality that I have. I'm a very, very neurotic person, which means that if I need to know how to do something, if I need to figure out something, I won't stop at any end until I figure it out, and until that's just, my mind won't be at rest until a solution is provided, or to something is organized. That's just how my mind works. So with me, I have the wherewithal, I have the intelligence, I have the capability to come up with the organizing structure. But that's just how some women approach the world. So that's up to you, whether you want to go back to the queen mothership, or you had developed innovative ways to develop benevolent patriarchy in which you have the autonomy. Now, if you do that as men, that's your business. I will not be helping with that, because I don't think that black women would necessarily be the benefactors of such a system. And I can prove that, but I don't think that you would build that up for her. But I'm saying, at this point, I don't care. Just build it for yourself, because it's not a good look. So to me, it's like, I don't care who ended up the benefactor of it. I don't feel like I own you, at this point in my life anymore. And I don't think that's productive for black women to think that. But I will say this as someone, like, I would say this to my own father, yeah, you should want to do that for yourself. Then the women will follow. And focus on building your individual empire, and those women, they will flock, whether they black, white, Asian, whatever. And I don't give a fuck, because the big kicker is you have a history, and even today, of showing and proving that when you do get put on, you're going to choose anything that doesn't reflect your image, a lot of you, to the point where it's like a stereotype. I'm not saying it's all, but it's like a stereotype, with these things. Kanye put it in his song, "When I get on, I leave your ass for a white girl." All these things, like, and it's like a running joke. And when black women get, literally, as men, when black women get into these other arguments with other women, they throw that in our face all the time. So, I mean, where there's smoke, there may be fire. Sometimes we say you can't generalize, but you can pick out a pattern. But you can't generalize. But yeah, these are patterns. These are things that people notice, that other communities notice. They throw it in our face all the time. So I'm not under any delusion about what this is all about. For instance, Kevin Samuel said, tells the women about themselves. He says, you want a black man? You have to do, all you got to do, you got to be friendly, you got to be submissive, you got to be intelligent, you got to be fit. You can't have no out of wedlock babies. You can't have no attitude. You can't have nobody. You can't be over 35. You need to be a young woman. And all of this rhetoric, all of these things. Now, you think there's not one woman that fit those categories out of all the black women's, out of over 1 billion black women? You think there's not one? But who was he found with? Who was he caught with? The nigga was caught with a Latino woman who they suspecting was not biologically born a woman. That ain't nobody business, but this what they are saying on the streets. Then he had cocaine in his system. They saying it was some drugs and stuff. So it's like, what? It's like, you can't come to the forefront with all this stuff that, the black woman do this, do this. So he told y'all, black woman, you do all these things, and you called into that show begging the black man for approval and validation. What you rate me? What you think I look like? What about black love? You was all on there trying to prove your worth, prove your worth, and the nigga still was with caught with a Latina. He was with her. So to me, that's the proof in the pudding. That's just one example, but I'm telling you, I could come up with thousands. So this looks ridiculous. So to me, how do I say this without being extremely inflammatory? I am not convinced that these men care collectively about the souls, the state of black women. I'm not convinced. And to me, you got all these black women, whether they're whatever nationality they may come from, they're enraged. They're complaining about, they not marrying us. They not this and they this. And then you got these other brainwashed women. They coddling. So either strategy is like, you see how on all sides this is not productive, because you got one side that's just gonna mammy you to death and coddle. Then you got the other ladies that they're complaining because the game was rigged from jump. Just like the situation with Kevin Samuel, all this, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this. If you do this, we'll pick you. He died with a Latino. He died on top of Latino. I mean, that's poetic for you. The game is rigged from jump. They can tell you all they think. The game was rigged 2,000 years ago, black women. That's little that you know. That's why none of this shit be surprising to me. You know, none of this stuff is surprising to me because the way I approach it is for my self-preservation. And I'll say this because women, the culture of the way women practice love and the way women approach the world is very different than men. And I would say that just is across cultures. But women, they should be a little more mercenary in terms of their energy, who they give their energy to, how they think about the world and how they approach relationships. Like, you should care only about people that care about you. You should love only people who love you. That's how I approach it. I only love those who love me. You know, y'all remember that part of the Baby Boy movie when that little boy he was watching the TV, so Snoop Dogg comes in and he's playing Taraji P. Henson's ex that had got out of jail. I can't even remember these people's names, you know, as far as their movie character. But remember the little boy, he turns around and he looks at Snoop Dogg and he's like, I hate you. And Snoop Dogg looked right back at him. He ain't try to get approval, he ain't try to get validation, he ain't try to, well, why? What did I do? Snoop Dogg looked at him and what'd he say? He told that little boy, nigga, I hate you too. And then he went on about his business. He kept it moving. And that's my energy all day. And by that nuance, what I'm talking about the spirit of someone reciprocating what is given to them. Simple as that. Regardless of the circumstances, reciprocating what you do to me is what I'm going to do to you. You don't like me? Shit, I don't like you either. I'm not getting onto this tip of, oh my gosh, I need to seek out why, you know, this approval or this validation of others, you know, and gods don't do that. So it's like, black women, why are you out here always trying to get the validation of other people? It's like, it's ridiculous. Like, the black woman is God, so what are you out here doing looking crazy? You know, it's like, you should only respect people who deserve it. The black men approach the world that way. You may hate it, you know, but that's what they do. And like most of the women, unfortunately, they've been convinced that they should respect someone solely because they have a phallus. This is the way black women are being groomed by the elders in their community, whether they be women, the church, the black church, religious dogma, Western patriarchy. Like, all of these things is programming black women, of course, their own childhoods, their lack of validation from maybe their father, who knows. But how do you, like, nation building be damned. So it's just like, you're gonna give someone respect just because they have a phallus, but okay, where's the nation building? Where's the organizing ability? Where's the leadership ability? So you can forego all of that off of just brainwash programming. And that's how you get got, black women, when you with that kind of approach to life. Like, you're gonna get got thinking so whimsical like that. That's just not how the world works. Like, going through life thinking that every black man is your son or your father, you're gonna get got. Because that's not that those black men don't think that way, and they can deny it, but they do not see every black woman as their mother or their daughter. And to be honest, they don't have to, because it's how you preserve. It's a very individualistic way of thinking. I understand that, but you have to focus on your own self-preservation sometimes at the end of the day. And just because you black women, you know, you have a self-preservation of -20, you cannot complain about why the men are not reciprocating behavior that would be ultimately foolish for any human. So that's what I mean by reciprocation. Like, reciprocate the energy people give you, man. Like, you don't need to be worried about the validation and approval of others. You don't, especially people who, like, you can't just approach every man like they your damn father. or they like your son. That's the erroneous way to approach this world. Do you see black men going around here thinking that every black woman is their daughter? Do you see that? You need to let me know where, because I got a bridge to sell you. Seriously, if any of you believe that, and to me, I don't see that as inherently wrong. I don't see that. But then again, I do understand that the best way to get someone to get some act right, you document their behavior, mirror their behavior, disengage, or you can do a hard reset on this community. By that, doing the hard reset would require all of the women to get it together. So that's a very far stretch. But having these pie in the sky ideas that you done create in your head about your male counterpart is a very childish state of mind. That would be detrimental, for one, to the development of their manhood, but it's also detrimental to your womanhood as well. To go through the earth, oh, I have to have this light worker mentality where I have to offer this unconditional, undying, long-suffering mammy archetype, this mule, and this I had to be ride or die. When then you going to complain, and I had this stuff in my family, so don't try to make it seem like, oh, I'm just tripping. They put this stuff in books. They be writing, little hood books we used to read when we was younger. In high school and shit. They used to show all these stories all the time of these black women doing all this crazy stuff for the guy, going to prison, going to get, doing a bid, doing all types of stuff. And then when it come time for some reciprocation, the nigga move on. He done got the cleanup woman. He done got a whole new side piece, a whole new level up. A woman that's gonna do more, that got more than your ass, look better than your ass, and they won't think twice about it. Ruthless as hell. And these women, I did this for you. I put money on your books. I'd let you stay in my Section 8 house and win all this stuff. And the man, you don't have to do. I didn't ask you to do it. I didn't ask you to do it. That's what they tell you. I didn't ask you to do that. I got fired from my job. Remember that lady? She got fired from her job. Because she was a correctional officer, but she decided to date one of the inmates or whatever, and they fired her, and she did it all for love and all this stuff. So she loses her job and her life, her life sustenance for some man, and he got out. He wasn't even thinking about that woman. But I hear so many crazy stories, I hear even like some of these intelligent women that got all these degrees and got all this money, they be doing some stupid ass shit too. You hear some stories, man, even some business owners. I done seen black women who business owners, getting their whole shit tore down to shreds, giving all the man everything, and then, oh, I did this for you. What he gonna say? I didn't tell you to do that for me. I didn't ask for that. You did that on your own because you was dumb. So that when I say that, think about the reciprocation. Good energy, no energy, indifferent energy, bad energy. Whatever somebody do to you, you need to be doing to them. And I've been telling you people this, the inverse of the golden law, when they say, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. The inverse, because we're dealing with the laws of polarity of the universe. What is the inverse? Do unto others as they have done unto you. You get a lot farther with that, because then you're in your shadow. You understand your shadow self. You integrate your dark side with your light side. Hopefully, you can really go to the extremes, but then we got systems in place to kind of check people who just be all up in they demonic. They're because we are both. I don't even know if I'm getting too deep, but we have a duality within ourselves. But for those who just all out there in their darkness, they go to jail, they go to prison, but so there's some sort of balance, hopefully, unless you got, you're one of the these people that can get it out, can operate outside of the law. But yeah, so when I say that in a very literal sense, as a woman who understands the duality of even feminine energy, the dark and the light, and when I see this you playing yourself like that, and I do know that I have some friends that done got, man. It's just like, it's just so heartbreaking, some of the stuff that I have seen over the years. And to see the responses from the men, they keep it, but my thing is, what happens if you did the same? Don't you think they get some act? Don't you think they either they get some act right, or you people would eventually balance out? You would balance out, and I'm not getting into detail what I mean by that, unless you talk personal about that in private. But it would balance out either way. And what gets me is, what if we did those things in reverse? Like a lot of the things, in terms of how the image of black women gets propagated by black men through music, even sometimes consciously, the propaganda, we know these characters that have been putting this image of black women out to the forefront for at least 15-20 years. They started with Sergeant Willie Pete, and then it was this whole, so many men have gotten like completely taken off the internet because their rhetoric was just outrageous. But remember like O'Shea or Tommy Sotomayor, to me it's like, what if the propaganda, what if women just decided, what, let me get a bunch of clips, how many hood videos or videos of the underbelly of our community just show, the black men, where we could use to promote like to distort the image of black men worldwide. If you take the underbelly of the hood and say, hey, this represents all of them, and all these women just got on the internet and started doing that, do you know how easy that would be? Like, do you know the amount of clips out here? Even stuff that I got, I'm like, it would just make y'all look so crazy. But then, because you can sometimes we have these video clips, like say for instance when that black girl, she was 15, she got jumped by 20 black men for her sneakers, and there was video footage of that, and they put it all on the news. You didn't see black women go say, hey, look at this. Or when that black woman got thrown in a dumpster by these random black men. I got all these videos because I'm a sociologist, so I collect a lot of stuff, and not just of that. I collect stuff of everything that's going on, and analyze stuff, and get down to the bottom of things. But what about that when that random black woman got thrown into that dumpster, and the guys had the Black Lives Matter shirt on because she wouldn't give one of the guys in the projects a kiss. So they all ganged up, picked her up against her will, and just threw her in the dumpster. She crying, they filming and laughing. This is a video out there. Now, what if, the video, it didn't even really go viral. But what if black women say, okay, you know what? Let me take this video. Let me take that. Let me take that video of that man that hit that girl in the face with a scooter, with a skateboard, and knocked her unconscious. Let me get all these videos. Let me get that video of that Black Lives Matter activist that went over to his baby mama's house, started beating the hell out of her. And remember when you got so upset at Egypt Ann when she started collecting all them clips and just putting it all out there, saying like, look. But she had that video collection. Y'all lost your mind. Y'all got her deleted like 30-20 times off the internet for showing video clips of your behavior. It was like black men in the videos doing these things, but it made y'all look like the collective look crazy. But nobody really made it generalized because nobody propagandized it. Like that's like how Tommy Sotomayor takes all the clips of black women doing stupid ass shit or black women looking crazy and then put it on the internet, video after video after video. And so then you can just really make a whole propaganda apparatus and say, hey, look what all these black women are doing. Look how they doing. We could easily do that. I'm telling you, with the stuff that I had saw with my own eyes. Like, remember the story about the man that was walking down the street and saw a black woman, and he decided to rip her eyeballs out of her head and put them on the sidewalk. The police come and get him. You can look this up. The police asked him, why you do that to her? I was having a bad day, and I felt like she thought she was better than me, so I put her in her place. But ripped her eyeballs out of her fucking sockets. This was about 3 years ago. So I'm like, all this crazy stuff, even stuff that I had to do, that I was attacked when I was a teenager, all in the police report by literally somebody random. The police asked him, why did you do that? I didn't feel good this morning. Literally, that's what's on the fucking police report. So like, this stuff is like, if somebody wanted to come and say, Clip after clip after clip after clip on YouTube, on Twitter, on social media. Clip after clip. Let me show them doing this. Clip at put the titles all good in the video. Now you got you a nice propaganda. Now you can ruin someone's image globally, you know. And when we see what Tommy Sotomayor and all that stuff, and the World Star Hip Hop with that girl going viral on Kevin Sim, that's how the primordial mothers take that. That's how black women should really. I know they scary, and they, you know, a lot of them. I don't know what's going on with, you know. But to me, it's like, how you not calling that shit out? Like, how you gonna ruin my fucking image across the world with these clips, and then don't think that we got clips? So it's like, what if somebody did that? You wouldn't like that shit. You would not. You would showing the lack of building, showing the infrastructure, showing all the drug dealers. What if showing somebody selling crack to a pregnant woman? Like, this is just imagine if your women went out on a propaganda smear campaign in 2022, showing everything they could show, all these little clips they could put together every day. Just put a clip together. Every 6 hours a black woman is dead. You know, y'all do know a black woman get murdered every 6 hours. You know how easy it would be to just let me do a video every 6 hours. I got a video coming on showing how all these women are getting killed by black men. Propaganda. Now we got a machine. Now we got some shit where we can really, you know what I mean? So you have to think twice because what you put out, you're gonna get back. So you gotta be careful, because some of these women, they gonna get on. I know a woman that got 10,000 video clips right now waiting. Right now. I'm serious. There's been collecting clips of all the crazy shit that has ever happened in the world, including clips of you doing crazy stuff. Because you got clips, like, if you could do this with any race too. You could do this with the Latino. You could show just a bunch of Mexicans doing something crazy every day. You could do it with the Asians. You could do this with anybody. You could just show. You can get the worst of the worst of crazy behavior that you'll see some people doing, and then go and present it as if everyone is doing that. And that's very dangerous. And black men, we know that is what you have done with black women for the last 10 years. We're very much aware of that. We see these videos. We even see, like, I can go on Twitter and I can go down and show you where some men done got some crazy clip of some random hood rat doing something stupid, and see what black women needs to be ashamed of. Even there's a video today that, like, somebody these black women that's auditioning for one of these ratchet reality TV shows, right? So they got all these black women looking crazy as hell. They, you know, with the crazy hair and nails and outfits, and they going in it, yeah, you know, bitch, you know, talking to her stuff. And all these men under the comments, black men, talking about some, see why we needed Kevin Samuels. See, Kevin Samuels, he turning in his grave right now. See what these bitches is doing. See, they embarrassing. One video with 20 hood rats auditioning for a hood rat ass show while stripping. Are you kidding me? Now, why didn't you show that clip of all them black women that was doing the real estate reality show, and they had to audition for that? Those were women that strikingly different. Why you didn't show that clip with that clip? You gotta always balance stuff out, or else your karma comes. Because it's like, if you show something, and especially if it's distorted, or if it's not, it's not representing its own totality, and you don't balance that shit out, then the pendulum swings towards you eventually. So you have to be very careful about the energy you put out, because if you're gonna put out a clip showing them ratchet bitches or whatever, you should put out that same clip of all them ladies that graduated from Harvard, all them ladies that started them businesses that try to help their community, all them black women that bought all them farms and want to farm their food and shit, homeschooling women that done started whole ass schools and stuff, and women that, you know, that's doing anything. You have to balance that out. You can't just show all that, like, that's all Tommy Sotomayor, that's all these men were doing. We see this. We see the primordial mother see everything. So it's like, what? Why would you do that to the mother of your race? You ain't even doing that to the women that bore the men that oppressing your ass. Like, that's wild. And I don't expect that. I'm not even asking for that. But it's like, you know, damn, like, these women are brainwashed to not call this out. Because I'm like, it need to be millions of us strong. Like, no. We need a hard reset. We doing a hard reset on this community. Because we about to go extinct with this kind of nonsense that's carrying on. This hostility, this hatred. Like, it's just, you know? What if, to me, it's like, I just imagine, like, what if a nigga like me decided to make that my full-time job? I don't have any interest in that, so I'm just talking shit. But it's like, y'all know I'm well researched. I could find a collection of I can make a video series of anything, you know, of what you have done in the last 10 years. Just get all these crazy hood videos of all the crazy hood stuff that I can find and put it all out. That would not be right, because they would just be like, oh, you're generalizing, oh my gosh, you're trying to see what you're doing to the black man, or you're always tearing us down, I'm getting bashed, all this stuff we gotta hear. But when we doing something, or we saying, okay, that's really harmful to my image, and you just don't give a fuck. And the crazy thing is, I have 100,000 years of history of you, black men in particular. So you, like, it's like, what if I went through 100,000 years and just, okay, let me show this evidence, let me show this, like that is just it's unproductive. Because then you're just showing someone's behavior. Then what is the end goal? Okay, this behavior needs to be shamed. I'm putting you on the market. I don't know. Like, it's like, who are you putting that out there for? Who do you want to see that? Other black men or white men? Like, what is the end goal of that? Because we all know that those are underbellies of the community, or those are certain women, those are certain men. So why would you go and take your ass and put that out there like that and not balance it out? Because what if I made that my 24-hour job? What if one of these smart ass women out here get fed up enough and just snap and just go on and do the Tommy Sotomayor thing, but in reverse? So I really wish, people could understand that juxtaposition. I don't have any expectations of what that even entails, but like, I do think that the men should have some compassion for the women that brought them into this world. Now, I know in the realms of things, or the technicalities of things, nobody owes anyone anything. And I know that you would think like, okay, what about the morality thing? That's so relative and subjective. That's a spectrum of what you can even argue. So where my consciousness is that, I really don't. Someone can you could tell somebody, hey, why don't you, it's the moral thing to be respectful to the image of the women that have birthed you. And then someone could easily say, for what? How? Why? I mean, we can say, hey, honor your mother, your father, your days will be long, or we could bring up some sort of doctrine, or even say karma. But people can circumnavigate. Then it's still like, for what? So I understand the pushback either way, because I know some people will say, I don't owe you shit. I'm not entitled to you. You're not entitled to me. I don't have any expectations of you. Don't have any expectations of me. And pretty much that's what they say. That's what I pick up. That's the energy I pick up from you. Not all black men, but that is certainly. So I have heard men say that. I don't know your shit. So. To me, good, bad, right, or wrong, is not the way I would necessarily treat someone. But in this world, you do have a sense of, this idea of free will. I'm still kind of debating in my mind, but you can do whatever you want. There's consequences for what you do, but you can do whatever you want. That's for sure. But I do say that even if you say, oh man, I don't owe you shit. I don't owe you any compassion. Well, that's true. And, there's a contingency plan for that as well. Set forth by the primordial mothers, the things that we have to answer to, the dragons and our dark goddesses. We have to answer to all of these things, Again, there's the energy out here that is sort of like a course correcting energy. Like, okay, this is so out of balance on this planet. Some people gotta go. Some things gotta go. Some systems have to go. Some things must be destroyed. Some things must be brought to the light, revealed, unhidden. So that is also what we're dealing with on this planet and at this time. And when we see, again, a lot of people don't know this, but there were other podcasters that had died. It wasn't just Kevin Samuels. They died on the same day, actually. Other male podcasters that were saying similar rhetoric. They got big. So they're not the Sorry, guys, I'm kind of distracted. So they don't have that, obviously, that same following, so we didn't hear about this stuff. But other podcasts died, and other more things will happen. More things will happen. We have so much going on, and there's a shaking up in this community on a spiritual realm, and I do hope this is for black men and black women. It's not just like, okay, but there's some order that needs to be set. Again, this energy that's coming now is about precision and discipline for all of us. That includes myself. There are things that we all are working on, and with me, I'm a very solution oriented person. So it's like, well, how do you speak with truth and love, and how do you tell what you are for versus what you're against? Here's a secret in life. Anytime you when you approach life in the sense of, I need to state what I'm against. I need to I need to emphatically be about what I'm against in this world. Believe it or not, you create a lot of stagnation. You create a lot of paralysis in movement, because when you tell people what you're against, you're creating resistance. You're creating this energy that's not flowing. It's not in flow. When you tell people what you are for, then you're, and this is another thing, because we're dealing with, I'm going to get back to when you tell people what you're against, because now we get back into like the universal laws of how it's like an input output. It's a computer programming, just the law of attraction shit. We know this, but it's like when you tell people what you're against, and the emotions and the energy is not aligning to what you're for, what you're gonna get, what you're gonna manifest, more shit you against. More drama. Now you're offending people. Now people hate you, like Kevin Samuels. I'm against women that's over 35. I'm against out of wedlock baby. I'm against women that got a PhD. I'm against women who. What do you manifest? The fuck? I'm against. He never said, oh, I'm really I can bring about this because this is what I am for, and speaking in truth and love and compassion, this is what I can offer to this community. And all of this, I'm against, and that go for anything, anything in life. Like when you see people with all that I'm against energy, let's see how it's a lot of drama, controversies around their name. If you focus on what you're for in life, what you're for, unless it's something sick like you're for, harming children or something crazy like that. But if you living in your true life's purpose, and you really doing, you're harming none, but you're doing what you want, what you will, then you will get farther in life. You will get farther in life if your ass didn't feel you always gotta rage against the beast, rage against the system, rage against what I'm against. I gotta rage against you because you disagree with, all this energy. Ugh. To me, when you show what you're for, and I'm giving this advice to anybody that may feel, they want to start a platform or start a movement, start anything. If you go with what you're for, you get a lot more honey, versus if you create that resistance. If you want your emotions, you want your emotions and the things you are tuned into as far as actions, the content of your mind, to mirror what you want to manifest. You want it to mirror that. So that means everything you tuned into, or energy flows, tension goes, or however the saying go. Pay attention to what you're watching, what you're listening to, who you around. All that vibration gotta match what you want to manifest. All of that on every level, and it's certainly the emotional body, because you can consciously say and try to affirmation your way into anything, but if that shit ain't in your emotions, as far as really, I actually feel I'm at the place in the state of consciousness where it's already there. There is no lack, there is no resistance. I'm not focusing on what I'm against. Or I'm against this poverty, I'm against this, no, it's like I'm in the spirit, I'm in the vibration, I'm in this creatrix of knowing I'm a participant in my reality. I'm a co-creator in the reality. But then the alignment of everything that's around you, from the emotional body to the things you listening to, things you shit on your phone, what you eat and everything, you know. But if you get it aligned with what you want or what you're for, most times you'll see that shit come to pass. Most times, unless your goal is to hurt some child or hurt some animals, you're gonna be stopped, because there's some people, you know, that's people gonna come at your neck. But if your goal in life is to really manifest your dreams, you know, whatever that be, travel, get some money, work, write books, create artwork, make some movies, whatever it is, when you focus on whatever you for, more times than not, and you're gonna get it, you know. That was a tangent, but you know, even when it comes to this rhetoric, you know, if you want a behavior out of black women's or vice versa, I guarantee if you tell them what you for, and not in this, you know, tear you down derogatory way, you know, so the people get at you, you know, people will buy into it. Some people will, you know, not everybody, but you don't need everybody. You just need people who resonate with you. So I'm gonna talk to y'all later. I gotta go. I didn't mean to talk this long. Bye.
Welcome to Nakhti.us. Nakhti by J.N.S is a botanica shop that has over 4,000 metaphysical products to assist you in your spiritual journey. On Nakhti.us, you can find all of my exclusive lectures that can't be found on YouTube. Just click on Shop Botanica on the menu, choose your category, and shop for your favorite items. You could also select a spiritual advisor to get a reading on decisions most important to you and check your daily astrology. Please check out my books, The Nakhti Philosophy and The Nakhti Queen Mothership. And stay tuned for weekly content. And don't forget to subscribe and share the channel so we can reach as much people as possible. Let's continue to help one another, transcend our consciousness, and let's rise as one in truth, power, and love. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.